Hello, NewWaveOfBritishHeavyMetal.com here. Today got a really under the radar band from the good old NWOBHM days called Singapore. Before I ramble on about them for a bit, if I could ask a little teeny tiny favour, and that's if you wouldn't mind please subscribing to the channel, because that's a big help, really is. So a big appreciation if you wouldn't mind clicking the button to subscribe. Okie dokie. Singapore. They were from around the Cardiff area, down there in Wales, forming in 1978. Hung around for a few years and then split up after the rewards were not forthcoming from the effort that the band put in. They did have a self-financed single called Launching and the B-side of A Bird With No Wings, and although despite recording some other demos after that, and some interest from record companies, and a recording contract remained somewhat elusive, and Singapore split in 1982, I think it was. However, as they continue to do, Obscure NWOBHM Releases, that marvellous bunch of people that do what they do best, they've done it again, and dug up Singapore's single and demos from the old days somehow, and put them out on CD, Singapore Anthology, as per the graphic there, as they always do in their limited edition run of 500 CDs. So I picked one up, as I always do, from them. And what have I got to say about it? Well, Singapore's style is not what you might be expecting, and slightly quirky, catchy, mostly melodic rock, not out and out NWOBHM. And sometimes there's a mixture of some like funky / punky influences going on, and it does work well. You might not think it does, but it does work quite well together. And I've found it, the more I've listened to this anthology, the more I've liked it. Proper growers in there, and that funky punk influence, no doubt, being there due to the booklet notes indicate that the band originated after the demise of a punk band called Dozy, whereafter guitarist Danny Chang and drummer Colin Galton stuck together and decided to form a new band with, as the booklet states, more rock with a punk attitude. Interesting, right? Bit different. And then the funky side probably coming after the recruitment of vocalist Nigel Voyle from a funk band named Graffiti. And Voil's vocals are nice and clean and powerful and quite rangy as well, which do fit with the style Singapore were after. That soul single of Launching with A Bird With No Wings is catchy enough, and that quirky mixture of melodics and a bit of funk and a bit of punk edge, I think it flows quite nicely, and for some reason, I don't know why, it makes me think of Thin Lizzy a bit. Weird, right? But just what my ears seem to think to it. A Bird With No Wings has some nice guitar going on there. Private Lives bounces along well with some clever lyrics which, if you listen to them, take on some extra significance these days. Friday the 13th is a sort of a power ballad. Hollywood Fantasies a nice melodic rocker. Muggin doesn't take itself too seriously, and it is quite a fun song despite the title. Murder Is Easy is nice and catchy and melodic as well. And then Bring On The Night pushes things up a little notch as it heads towards a more heavier style, yet retains all sorts of nice hooks and harmonies, as does Silver Screen Queen. And perhaps the last song, the closer, I Spy, is the heaviest of the 14 songs over this anthology of Singapore stuff. Now, whereas they were certainly very much more at the AOR melodic end of the musical spectrum, which perhaps wasn't the best for the times, with the burgeoning new wave of British heavy metal scene was really taking off at this time, wasn't it? Late 70s, early 80s, and maybe the style that Singapore went for, although it was the style that they wanted, as per the booklet states, perhaps they didn't quite fit with the times too well, which may not have helped. But there we are, That said, as I mentioned a few sentences ago, the more I've listened to it, the more I've liked it, And I think that what Singapore did back then deserves more than being just an outlying footnote in new wave of British heavy metal curiosity. I think it's more than worthy of checking out. And if you'd like to do that, as I've mentioned, it's the usual with Obscure NWOBHM Releases. 500 CDs is it. I got mine directly from the label, as I always do with these things. I'll put a link to it in the description below, as at time of recording this, 28th of December 2024, Obscure NWOBHM Releases still have availability, as do one of my other go-to places for this kind of stuff, which is Sonic Age Records. So I'll put a link to them in the description as well, though you'll probably find it in other places if you look around a bit. So that's Singapore and their anthology. Check it out if you'd like to. And please do subscribe to the channel before you go, because that'd be marvellous. And as always, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and take care.